We're talking about earnest money today, everyone, and that is just the most thrilling. It's just thrilling. Earnest money is what we're going to talk about, guys. This is the worst. This is the worst real estate show on the internet, and we apologize for that. My other content, I get to shoot machine guns, and we get to shoot the most quiet rifle in the world last weekend. So to come to you and talk about earnest money, it can be a little like, just your enthusiasm level doesn't translate over. I'll give you a bourbon recommendation at the end of this. Now we'll go ahead and talk about the thrilling topic of earnest money. So what is it? What is earnest money? Think of it, I usually describe it to my guys as it's like good faith money, okay? It's money that you put down to show that you're taking the process seriously. So let me give you an example of how it works here in Utah. So in the contract, it's actually the first thing. So earnest money is important. It's not, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But earnest money is important because, it's literally the first thing in our contract here for Utah. So it basically says, if this offer is accepted within 4 days, and for us, it's calendar days, not business days, so Saturday, Sunday count. Within 4 calendar days of this offer being accepted, the buyers will submit XYZ amount of earnest money. Typically, that's either held at the brokerage or a title company. The brokerage that I work for is named Realty Path. I shouldn't say work for, that they oversee me to make sure that I'm legal and I don't do anything stupid, which of course I do stupid things all the time. I don't think they have any idea that I make stupid videos, which is surprising. They haven't asked why we get all these checks from other states. But anyway, my brokerage does not hold earnest money, okay? So it has to go to the title company. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole today, but think of it as good faith money, okay? How much do you do in earnest money? Typically about 1%. So $300,000 house would be about $3,000, right? So we're going to buy this $300,000 house. We want the sellers to know that we're taking this process seriously and that we're actually invested in it. And so we're going to put down $3,000 in earnest money. And there's going to be questions, which is like, what does that go towards? Is it refundable? What happens if we back out? So let's answer a couple of those. One, what does it go towards? So ultimately, if you go through with a deal, you would typically just roll the earnest money into your cash to close, which would be a combination of your down payment and your closing costs. So let's just say that you're putting, $30,000 down, which would be what, 10%? So if you said, hey, we're putting 30 grand down, and you get ready and you're about to close on your house and you're like, hey, you're only going to owe 27 grand. We're just going to take the 3,000 that you have for earnest money and we're just going to roll that into the 30. So instead of you needing to come in with 30, you just come in with 27 grand. Get where I'm going with that? So that's typically where it would go, right? So it's not like this money that like, what the hell does it ever get used for? It's just going to get used down the road for shit that you were going to wind up paying for anyway, whether it be closing costs, down payment. If you're like a veteran or something like that, you likely will not have a down payment. You can choose to put one down, but you don't need to. So you could just roll it into your closing costs, for example. So case by case, but that's kind of how it works. In terms of if it's refundable, it depends. So it's going to depend on when you were to cancel the contract. So for us in Utah, it is completely refundable up until the due diligence deadline expires. So on a 30-day real estate contract, typically about the first 10 days to 2 weeks is going to be your due diligence deadline. That is really just for inspections and any other stuff that you wanted to do. Let's just say hypothetically there was a basement in the house and you wanted to price out how much is it going to be to build out this basement because we need it for the 7 kids that we have in Utah or whatever it might be. Cool. So that due diligence period is for you to get the contractor over, price it out, yada, 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 right? All that kind of stuff. Check it for, whatever you want, right? It's due diligence. It's do your homework. Make sure that this house is a good fit for you. If you cancel within that time period because you find out the house is a piece of shit or whatever, then no problem. You get your earnest money back. After the due diligence deadline, then it starts to change. So between the due diligence and the financing deadline, which is really designed to make sure your loan is good to go and the appraisal is good to go. If you cancel during that window, we specify in the contract how much you get back and how much the sellers would get. I usually advise our clients, like, look, throw the sellers a bone after the due diligence deadline, because if you just tied up their house for like 2 to 3 weeks and then decide you're going to cancel, it's like, bro, that was 2, 3 weeks when they couldn't market their house to other people. So in my mind, I get it. I represent a side of the deal, but I'm also side on the side. I side on what's right. You know, like what is correct here? That's kind of where I typically fall, which is like, well, what's the right thing to do? Well, you just tied up their house for 2, 3 weeks. So like maybe split the earnest money with them if you cancel after that point. Typically after the financing deadline, if you cancel at that point, because you're like right in the home stretch, if you cancel then, earnest money goes to the sellers. Could you rewrite contracts to stipulate otherwise? Sure, but literally ours is like standard language. After the financing deadline, the earnest money goes over to the sellers, okay? So that's how it works. So if you cancel, it just depends on when you were, or if you cancel it, based on the timeline of when you're gonna do it is gonna determine what happens with the earnest money. So yeah, it's about 1%. In this climate, I would advise, hey, put down as much as you can. If you're like, hey, we're only putting, we're buying a $300,000 house. It's going to be a $30,000 down payment. 1%, which would be a typical earnest money amount, is like $3,000. Cool. Put down 10 if you can. Like if you feel comfortable with it, put down 10. Like just show them like, hey, we're in. Because keep in mind, during those first couple of weeks, you get your money back if you cancel it, right? I'm speaking specific to Utah, right? So check your area, right? Ask an agent over there. Or if you obviously need us, you can use us as a resource. But that's kind of how it works, everyone. It's not too complicated. People make it a little bit more complex than it needs to be. It's just good faith money. Show them that you're taking the process seriously. Alcohol. What do we got? Let's grab this bad boy. So this is Jefferson's. This is ocean-aged Jefferson's. And I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Essentially what happens, they take the bourbon and it ages at sea. It goes in barrels in ships that are like going around the world. So like it goes to all 5 continents. I mean, it's just genuinely spectacular. It has a little globe on the back of it. It's really, really cool. I mean, this one even says Voyage 22. I haven't really looked into that, but I'm assuming that would be, hey, this is what, like, I mean, how cool is that? How cool is that? And so the net effect of this in terms of what it does, you actually get a hint of salt in ocean. And I know that sounds weird. Like, how could a bourbon taste like the ocean? Guys, I swear it does. And I've said it before, I don't have a sophisticated palate. I'm a bonehead when it comes to alcohol. Like I enjoy it, but I can't tell you that I detect the 50 different things that it's infused with, and I'm telling you straight up, that Jefferson's Ocean tastes like the damn ocean, guys. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys, maybe, I don't know, maybe you're watching this by the ocean. Who knows? Or a lake or a mountain or whatever it might be. We're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. If you guys need any real estate help, just let us know. That's why we're here. It's really the only reason I do these videos. I don't do it for shits and giggles. I do it to try to get our services out there. So if you need anything, let us know. If you inquire about buying land to build a shooting property expect us to be short with you, like expect it to be a brief conversation. So anyway, me and him, catch you next time. Yeah. Oh, Crispy, you want to do a thumbnail? You want to do a thumbnail? What is earnest money? I need some cash is what I need to like fan up some earnest money. Can you just add in a graphic for cash? Do this. I'm gonna hold up my hand like I'm holding cash and add some bills into this hand. It's so stupid. Every single time I make one of these faces, Finn, I'm furious with myself.